Courtesy of John WaxxxEuropaCorpChez FelixFrance. To cinema, a priest, a rabbi and an imam walk into a French comedy. What happens? Pretty much what you would expect in the simpatico if extremely broad-minded coexister, which follows the travails of an unlikely pop music sensation, whose members represent a harmonious pairing of France's three principal religions. Written and directed by comic Fabrice Eboué, whose previous features tackled Gallic slavery, caste apart and African dictators, the Crocodile of Botswana, this high-concept farce was inspired by an actual group of singing clergymen known as Les Prétors, the priests that rocked France in 2010 with their album Spiritus Dei. Eboué applies a rather clever contemporary twist to that story by turning his group into a plea for religious tolerance at a time when the nation seems to be divided along theological lines, especially in the wake of terrorist attacks on Jewish and Christian targets, as well as anti-Islam racism fueled by extreme right parties like the Front National. Eboué himself plays Nicolas, a down-and-out impresario looking for the next big thing after the boss of his company, Mathilde Segner, tells him it's either her way or the highway. With the aid of his trusty if sex-obsessed assistant, Sabrina Audrey Lamy, Nicolas concocts the idea of a three-pronged pop-rock band composed of the rabbi Samuel Jonathan Cohen, the priest Benoit Guillaume de Tonquédec, a womanizing alcoholic named Monsef who masquerades as an imam, Ramzi Badia. The group, whom Nicolas decides to call coexister in the hopes of unifying a divisive France, goes through the usual ups and downs, with each singer pretty much coming across as a stereotype of their faith. Samuel is a dead seawater inhaling, Holocaust-obsessed neurotic. Benoit is filled with unholy desires that drive him over the edge, and the sacrilegious Monsef only wants to rip off his skullcap, guzzle a bottle of wine and sleep with a bunch of hookers, all of which he manages to do. This is far from sophisticated material, although there are a few decent one-liners that mock everything from Israel to ISIS to pedophilia, especially when the three amigos rip off the gloves and go for the jugular. Eventually, all roads lead to a big show at Paris' famed Olympia concert hall, and as one expects, the group barely makes it there in one piece, with each member's original sin nearly keeping them off the stage. Not that you're necessarily begging for them to sing. Coexisters' incredibly cheesy spiritual ballads are liable to turn many a viewer into bona fide atheist, even if such feel-good schmaltz seems to have its place in French popular culture. Performances are otherwise lively, if often as exaggerated as the characters, with Lamy rather shamelessly playing a nymphomaniac and Cohen doing his best to make Samuel, who unwillingly becomes a cokehead, a sort of Keith Richards with a toilet in the yarmulke. The film's best scene is also probably its simplest. During an interview with a Jewish radio station, Monsef recounts his favorite moments from The Mad Adventures of Rabbi Jacob, a classic French farce from 1973 that poked fun at anti-Semitism in highly outlandish ways. The way Betty's character cracks up when remembering that movie makes us long for the kind of laughs Coexist never manages to achieve, even if Eboué deserves some credit for trying to turn everyday calamity into comedy. Production companies: EuropaCorpChez FelixFrance. To cinema cast: Fabrice Eboué, Audrey Lamy, Ramzi Badia, Jonathan Cohen, Guillaume de Tonquédec, Mathilde Segner, Amel Chabi. Director, screenwriter Fabrice Eboué. Producer Edouard Devissin. Director of photography Philippe Gilbert. Production designer Pierre Kefalian. Costume designers Mimi Lempica. Editor Alice Planton. Composer Guillaume Roussel. Artistic advisor John WaxxxEuropaCorp. In French. 89 minutes.